It is time to finally continue on with my From Blood and Ash reading journey. Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. My name is Katie and this is going to be a From Blood and Ash reading vlog. So I have a reading vlog where I read the first two books, From Blood and Ash and Kingdom of Flesh and Fire, because when I discovered those books, that was like the thing that got me into fantasy romance, and I just deep dove into it. I love fantasy romance now, and this series holds a special place in my heart. I think I also have a vlog where I read Crown of Gilded Bones, but it was just like a regular vlog. I will link those anyways if you want to go see my thoughts. But I haven't read anything in this world since. I've kind of been putting it off, but now I have like 3 JLA books stored up that I can read back to back, and I'm so excited, and I'm gonna make a vlog out of it. JLA also has announced 3 books coming out in 2023, so of course I need to catch up because otherwise I'd be so far behind. So in this vlog, I'm going to be reading A Shadow in the Ember, which is the first of the prequel series. Then The War of Two Queens, which is the 4th book in the regular From Blood and Ash, has this cool cover. And then A Light in the Flame, which is a sequel to A Shadow in the Ember. So this this pattern, I'm just doing it in release order because that is ideally how I would have experienced these books. But definitely I know information and A Shadow in the Ember comes into play in From Blood and Ash. So this is basically set, I don't know how many years prior, it could be thousands, maybe before From Blood and Ash, because in From Blood and Ash, all of the gods, all of the primal gods are asleep. And in this world, they are awake and they are known to be in their realm, and they come into the mortal realm. And then we have Seraphina, who is a maiden, which again is something that we see come into play in From Blood and Ash series in a major way. And she has been chosen to be the consort of the primal of death. And so she has basically been like training her whole life for this, not only to like train in battle skills, but in the art of seduction, because basically in order to like end a curse upon the land, she has to kill him, and the only way to kill the primal of death is to make him fall in love. So she has been trained to make him fall in love, and that is really where this story starts off. So right now I am on page 89 when I started this book, and it is so good so far. I feel like JLA just like sucks you in right away, and I don't know, just something about having this huge fantasy book to like dig my teeth into makes me so excited. But I know it's like spicy and fun, and we already got like a little kissing scene that was really good, and I'm like fully like annotating, which is really fun because I haven't fully annotated in a while. And I am just having a blast. I really like Seraphina's character. Like, she's in this position with her family where like her family kind of like ignores her because she was born for like this one purpose. And like she definitely has like a very strained relationship with like her mother and her stepbrother, and it's very interesting to see how people treat her. And I feel like she's really gonna like come into her own power throughout the course of this series. I also don't really, I mean, we kind of have gotten hints of like what the main conflict is going to be, but I don't know how this is going to tie back in to A War of Two Queens, which also, before I read this book, I need a serious plot summary of what has happened previously because I don't remember. This vlog will be spoiler free, by the way, just in case you were wondering. So I'm only going to vaguely refer to things, but so far, like, I'm just having so much fun with this. I love this series, and it's just made me so happy. Like, I feel like it's really like recaptured the love that I feel for this world, because I started reading it, I'm like, oh my god, like this is the same feeling that I got when I started reading From Blood and Ash, and I could not put it down. I think I read that book in like 2 days, and it's pretty big. So just lots of love, and it's exciting getting to follow a new couple. And I feel like JLA has a lot of series where she has like spin-offs and stuff like that, so she's very good at knowing how to interconnect things, and this world is just like sprawling and expansive, a lot of stuff going on. Interested to see how it all will come together. And then she has a brand new fantasy romance series that's being published through Tor's new fantasy romance imprint, which yay, fantasy romance imprint, in like September or something like that. But then I also think we're getting From Blood and Ash from Castile's point of view, which is also overwhelming. And then I don't know what the 3rd book is. I will have to look that up. Bad JLA stan, but I've been overwhelmed with the amount of information that we have coming from this woman. She is a superstar for publishing these many books in a short amount of time that are like all gigantic. So I'm very excited, very happy, and let's just continue on with the journey. Okay, just taking like 2 seconds before I go to bed to check in. I'm on page 182. I did read some more, but then I had to go to an alumni event, which that was my first ever alumni event I've been to. It was nice, it was fun, there was free alcohol and food. And yeah, I mean, we are seeing the relationship starting to develop. We got a little bit of a steamy scene, and I realized JLA does steamy scenes so well because she's just very good at describing like kisses and caresses. Like, it's not super I mean, it probably will get super explicit, but just like all the simple things, really just like, it's just described very well. It really brings you into the moment, you know? So I'm loving it. I'm very excited to continue. I literally feel like I could have read throughout the night and continued this book, but I am tired and I need to go to sleep. So good night. Okay, so I did wait a little bit too long in between check-ins, but I just finished A Shadow in the Ember, and the last time I had checked in, I just started it. So I skipped a few check-ins in the middle there, but that's okay because I just had a crazy week and didn't really have time to sit down in front of the camera. But now I can talk to you about all of my thoughts on A Shadow in the Ember, which is the first of the 3 books that I'm trying to read in this reading vlog. And I can say genuinely that I loved this. I think it's a prequel novella that stands on its own, which is really important for prequels because you don't want it to feel kind of like repetitive or regurgitative of the original book, but we got new characters that are definitely going to play into the From Blood and Ash as a whole. We get to kind of understand like how the world came to be and a lot of the backstory and lore. So I definitely think that these 2 series are meant to be read together. I loved Sarah and Nikitos. I don't know how to say his name. I'm gonna say Nikitos. So I love their story. I feel like there was so much that happened in this, but it really, like, the spice between them was so good. But JLA managed to keep the tension going the entire time. So like at the end of this book, like they're still at odds with one another, and there's a lot of like just angst and like all of these feelings, and it's not quite an easy like path forward for them. So I appreciate that. There was a lot of reference to places and things that were in the From Blood and Ash Kingdom, and I honestly need to pick up those books and like relook at the maps, figure out everything that has gone on. I think before I continue on to the War of Two Queens, I'm literally going to go online and find like detailed plot summaries of the first 3 books. So I am like in the mindset of the series before I pick up the next one. But yeah, I think it's really cool to like go back. I don't even know how many years before the first book this is taking place, because in that book the primals in the From Blood and Ash series, like the primals are like all asleep, and they have been for like a really long time. So this has to be like thousands of years before the From Blood and Ash series is taking place, and like everything that is happening in From Blood and Ash is just like so like this is like legend to them. Like it doesn't even seem like it's real. It was that long ago. So it's quite interesting. Sarah's amazing. She's just like super feisty and just like doesn't take any crap from anyone, and she was really like raised to be this like killing machine, and this book really delves a lot into her character and how she feels like she doesn't deserve not even love, but just like doesn't deserve companionship. She deserves to be alone, like the things that she's been forced to do because of the position that she was brought into, and how that's really impacted her life. And I thought it was just such a good character development. I love Nikitos and Sarah together. Like there were some honestly laugh out loud banter moments between them, and also some really tender moments, and also some really angsty moments. So it was just a perfect balance of everything. JLA has done it again, basically. I think a lot of people get annoyed at this book. Okay, one for the off-centeredness of it. I mean, that obviously still bothers me. But whatever. I think because this is probably one of her more unedited and rushed ones, which I do think I notice a lot less typos and stuff in this book. So I think that hopefully her editor is hearing the complaints of the people and fixing what has gone wrong. But also, like, I guess a lot of people didn't like the direction of the plot in this book. But I don't know, I didn't see anything that like made me like not like it as much as the other 2. I definitely think the first one is still like the best because it just introduces you to the world and all the tension and intrigue of the characters developing their romance for the first time. But this series, and especially with this prequel now, really has such an expansive world with a lot of like world building and on such like a large scope. And I love that this is just like a high fantasy romance that I can really just like, they're long books, you really just like enjoy them, but like I'm completely sucked in and like can't stop reading them when I'm reading them. They're very addictive. And like it just keeps going. I don't know, I just think it's really cool to have this expansive of a world. I have a feeling that the third book in the Shadow and the Ember series is probably going to tie into the From Blood and Ash series, which is why we're not getting, oh gosh, okay, so From Blood and Ash is supposed to be 6 books, so that's, The War of Two Queens was the 4th book, so we still have 2 more books in From Blood and Ash. So I guess we will have to wait until 2024 for those, but this woman can write, and she can write fast. So always lots of good things coming out when you're a JLA fan. So yeah, so that is just my little update for today. I am going to literally sit down at the computer and read pretty intensive, in-depth, the most in-depth ones that I can find, plot summaries of the first 3 books so that I am prepared to read this one that I'm gonna try and start later. Let's see. How many pages does this guy have? Oops, 615 pages. So that's exciting. I love the imagery and stuff. This cover is centered, which is beautiful. I wonder if any book boxes are going to start doing exclusive editions of The Shadow and the Ember. Maybe they're going to wait till the 3rd one, because I have the bookish box from Blood and Ash. I limited myself to only 1 exclusive edition, otherwise I would have bought all of them and they're expensive. One of the reasons I specifically chose the bookish box exclusive edition is because the cover is done by Monolime Art, who has one of my favorite art styles. They've done like, let me show you, in A Court of Frost and Starlight, the exclusive edition, like they did this art on the special edition here. So like I'm just a really big fan of their art style. So I really wanted to get this exclusive edition. It also has some spicy, okay, also the naked cover, and then hello, that's spicy. And I'm excited to see this scene in action when I read this book, because I think I think there's some joining action based on some fan art that I saw. I'm not even mad to be spoiled for that, and if you haven't read this series then you don't know what the joining even is, but I think the fans are finally gonna get the thing that they have been waiting for. I literally have all of my exclusive editions like in a pile on the floor because I want to buy a shelf like specifically for exclusive editions, but the IKEA is kind of far away. You have to wait until those shelves come back in stock because they go out of stock real quick. So I haven't had a chance. I also want to reconfigure my shelves a little bit and maybe make like a more fantasy romance centered shelf. Right now I have it on the bottom, but I kind of want to bring it up to the top. I don't know. I have some things that I can play around with in my book room. Anyways, I'm kind of rambling on here, but that is what's up with me. Gonna go shopping and then read my plot summaries and then get started on The War of Two Queens. Okay, I just want to do like the quickest of updates. So on this book, I'm currently on page 118, and I think we are going to get an event in this book that has been heavily hinted at throughout the book, and if you haven't read this, then when I say the joining, it won't mean anything to you, but I think it's gonna happen. And I won't like spoil and say whether or not it does, but I think it's gonna happen. So I love these characters. I'm excited to be back in this world. It is a little slow at the start, but it's also slow because when I get home from work, like I do not have the brain cells to read this book. So I've been reading it slow. So that's probably why I feel like it's slow. But last night in the chapters I read, it did pick up a little bit, but then I got tired and went to bed. So we'll see how much I can read. But really, these big boy books, these books, these get read on the weekend because I do not have the time on the weekdays. So I'll be reading more of this during the weekend, and I do want to pick up like a Kindle book, maybe a romance or something in between, because I don't want to read 3 really heavy books back to back, so I might pick up a romance on my Kindle to just break it up a little bit. So that's all. It's Saturday and I'm on page 188. So I've been reading so slowly because I've been so tired every day when I get home. I barely have any time to read and then I can't focus. And I will say it's a little bit slow in the beginning. It's not anything like terribly slow. It's just like a lot of battle and strategy talk, and I think that's fine. But I think this style, while it's still NA, this book is veering more adult fantasy than YA fantasy, which is why maybe some people don't like it as much, but I am still enjoying the ride. I'm here for a puppy being a badass, and I can't wait to see where the story continues. It's getting very in-depth fantasy world battle kind of things going on, so I'm just gonna keep reading. I also finished my reread of Daisy Jones and the Six last week in preparation to watch the show, and I finally have time, so I'm gonna try and watch at least an episode today. Okay. Hello. So, update on my From Blood and Ash reading vlog. Also, I just did these press-ons. We'll see how long they last. I'm trying to save money and not going to get my nails done, but then I get frustrated with these when they start breaking off after a week, so we'll see. But I want it to be springy, so I did some nails. You can see them. Yeah, they're cute. Okay, so The War of Two Queens. I was kind of slogging through this all week because I was exhausted from work. It wasn't anything with the book. I mean, it was a little bit with the book, but it was more so with me. The beginning was a little bit slow, but then we get to a point where there is a reunion and things are picking up pace. So I'm on page 403 of, let's see how many pages. About 600, and we got some plot reveals, we got some things, so the plot is finally starting to move. Again, it's a little bit more of like a meandering, reminiscent of an adult style rather than the YA new adult style book, but like I said, I love this series. I probably am going to take a break before I get to A Light in the Flame, even though I really like The Shadow and the Ember. I think I need like a rom-com break because just reading two really like 600-page books back to back just slows down the pace a little bit, so I'm gonna read a nice little rom-com to break it up and then get back to A Light in the Flame. I haven't decided which rom-com yet. Obviously, I'll tell you guys. So I also watched the first episode of Daisy Jones last night, and I really liked it. I think they picked really good actors, and it's so cool to see it come to life with like a really thorough and well done soundtrack. Not only were there a lot of like songs from that time period that I like, because my family I grew up listening to a lot of 70s rock, but like the songs that they did also like fit. So I don't know, I'm having a lot of fun. I'm gonna like probably watch an episode a day, so I'll watch another episode tonight, but I'm excited about that. I'm glad I did a reread right before because it's like super fresh in my mind and I kind of can like place all these things and what's gonna happen. So yeah, so next I have a big unboxing to do, so let's get into it. These are all of my packages. So we open the first box, and I gotta make sure my nails don't come off. This was the best box. This was the best box that I've ever received in my life. It is an Ice Planet Barbarians PR box. I have no idea what I did to deserve this, but thank you to Valentine PR for sending this to me because I could literally cry. So, let me show you. We have this alien print. I'm assuming this is Vectal. He's like the one from the first book. I don't know, but hello. Then we have, okay, these stickers I think are my favorite part. So I have read these all a while ago and I don't remember all the couple names, but literally like so cute. This series about like big blue aliens with the breeding kink honestly is like the most wholesome thing ever, and this is really inspiring me. This is the one that this book that I got sent in the package is about. This has inspired me to pick the series back up. I am on like the 9th book, so maybe I'll put that on my April TBR, but I like to read them in summer for whatever reason. I almost forgot a sticker. Like, cutest things ever. And then, okay, we also have bookmarks. Honestly, I'm spoiled. Like, look at them. This one's for Barbarian Mine. This is the first two, Barbarian Alien and Ice Planet Barbarians. And then this has like all of the aliens and the girls' names on them. The first 6 girls. I'm wondering like if they're gonna do the whole like 20-book series. I would like that because like there are like a few spin-offs and stuff, I guess, but I feel like they're making a lot of money off of this, so they should continue to do it. And this one says Cootie Chaser, which like they call the like thing that keeps them alive on this planet a cootie. And then this one that says Spur Enthusiast. So like if you know, you know. I also got some candy. So I got this rock candy, which kind of looks like snow, and then I got white chocolate snowball M&Ms. Let's try these. I don't think I've ever had this flavor before. Ooh, appropriately themed. It was good. I enjoy the pretzel M&Ms. You have a few more. Okay. Yum. Okay. And this one is the 5th one. Barbarian's Prize. I have read this one. This is Tiffany, and she doesn't have a mate yet. And all of the men on the planet are like, we want to resonate with you, which is their like mating process. She's super popular. And she wants to be left alone. She doesn't necessarily like all the attention she's getting. And then there's Saluk, and he knows the truth of what happened to Tiffany and like why she has nightmares and why she doesn't trust anyone, and like they just rebuild her trust together. And it's honestly such a beautiful story. This series is so fun, and I'm so glad that it is getting the attention that it is. I need to continue on and read like books. I have a list in my bullet journal of like all the books, because I do want to read like all of this and the Ice Home series, which is connected. It is a goal of mine, a long-standing goal. It will take me some time, but I think I will get back to them one day. I now have 3 separate packages from Barnes & Noble, because that's how life goes sometimes. This is the most offensive thing. It came with a sticker on it. I mean, I can get it off, but okay. I finally have an icebreaker. So this is like going viral on TikTok, and it's a romance between a hockey captain and a figure skater. And this is, it's my turn to pick the college friends book club. So I was like, we're gonna do smut. So this is the one that I picked, especially because it's super popular right now. Next one, again from Barnes & Noble. The good thing is I forget everything I already bought, so okay, yay. Okay, so this one is The Foxglove King by Hannah Witten, and whoa! That would have been bad. Okay, I was just shook at this map on the end pages, and then this is what the front looks like. Oh, I need to read this. I also need to read her For the Wolf series. Ooh, I've just heard her books are really, really good. And yeah, so this one it's described as a gilded gothic and romantic new epic fantasy series. A young woman's secret power to raise the dead plunges her into the dangerous world of the sainted king's royal court. That'll do it. That'll sell me on this book. That's all you need. This last box is rather heavy. Oh my god, and it's just one book. It is A Day of Fallen Night by Samantha Shannon, and this was the prequel to Priority of the Orange Tree, and it's this huge, long fantasy book. Here I have this little dragon on the front. I read Priority of the Orange Tree when it came out, and I loved it. It was a beautiful sapphic fantasy with such intense world building. I mean, people say it's long, but it's kind of like, it's just one book, you know? So if it's like a whole story in one book, and it's not as slow as people think that it is. So excited to have this. Gonna put it next to Priority of the Orange Tree, and these 2 big boys will look great on my shelf. Dragons. And that about does it for the mail, and I gave you my update on War of Two Queens. I'm gonna continue to read it. Lee and I are here, and we're walking around, and we're gonna go to a marathon related activity. No, it's too zoomed in. We're out to dinner. Okay, it's Saturday morning. We just went for a run. Somehow,
it was great.
I was convinced to run, and now we're going to Friendly Toast to eat brunch, and I want food because I ran so hard.
Yeah, same.
And we're gonna go do marathon things today and then go to Barnes & Noble later.
Yay!
Yay! So Keely is here with me in my house in Boston. Yesterday, we went and we met some famous runners that I don't know who they are, but they were really nice. Then today we went to brunch, and then we went to the Marathon Expo and saw some historic things, and we've also been reading kind of a little bit.
A page.
So we went on a run this morning.
Yes.
And I started.
We got these.
Yeah, that's the most important part of the trip. And I started A Good Girl's Guide to Murder audiobook. I'm very excited because it's like multimedia. I just finished my like alien romance book on Kindle. It was good. Was it Captive of the Horrid King? It was basically like Dothraki from Game of Thrones, but aliens. And that was the plot. That was it. And so we're gonna like buddy read in person Where Darkness Blooms. So we'll see if we end up reading more than a page this weekend because we're busy. Yeah. But that is all that's been happening. So thanks for sticking around for the update. Good morning. We're ready to go do more activities related to the marathon. Yay! Yay! It's been a while since I last filmed and I like barely have any light left, so I'm gonna do this quick. But Keely was just here and I decided to include it in this vlog since I didn't really have anything else I was reading. And after taking a long break, I'm getting back to the last of the 3 books that I have to read for this vlog. A Light in the Flame. A War of Two Queens was really disappointing. I have been like a ride or die for From Blood and Ash, and it dragged a lot. But this series is staying as a trilogy, so I'm hoping that it will be really well paced. Loved the story so far, and I loved the snippets of Nyktos and Sarah we got in The War of Two Queens, and so I'm excited to dig back into this world. Time for an update on A Light in the Flame, and I'm currently on page 294, so I'm just about at the halfway mark, and I'm loving it. The tension between Sarah and Nyktos it's racking it up there, and they just like are so caring, and like there's very strong characterizations. Definitely like we're starting to see a little bit more of like what the conflict is, but there's a lot of time spent on like character relationships, which is typical JLA fashion, and I am enjoying it in this trilogy. Okay, so it's finally time for me to wrap up my JLA vlog. I did end up finishing A Light in the Flame, and I gave it 5 stars. I loved it. I feel like Sarah and Nyktos' dynamic continue to evolve, and because this book is like only gonna be 3 books, I feel like the pacing is much better than the problem I had with The War of Two Queens, where I just felt like the pacing was a little bit too slow. I don't know, I love seeing Sarah kind of like come into her powers and kind of like this impossible situation that Nyktos and Sarah are in terms of their relationship. Like there were some quotes that I was like, oh my god, crying my eyes out because it's so good. JLA really just like builds these really fun and addictive worlds, and in the From Blood and Ash series, it feels like it's expanding and expanding to the point where it has gone beyond the original parameters set forth in the first book. This book is already kind of like solidly set up with like the parameters of the world and the gods and stuff like that, so it doesn't feel like you keep getting more and more and more, right? Like it feels like, I guess, like appropriately expanded and not like she's making things up midway. So I really enjoyed it, and like there's this whole conflict with Colas and like the primal of death and life, and I loved Sarah. She's amazing, and I think it'll be really fun. I feel like after we get the 3rd book in the series, which comes out in December, the last book in the From Blood and Ash series, I think is going to combine all of these characters together, and I'm really interested to see that merge happen. So yeah, I hope you guys really enjoyed my reading JLA experience vlog type thing. I know this was filmed over the course of several months just because it took me a while to read these guys. They are chunky, but I overall just like had a lot of fun, and I really enjoyed this series. So let me know if you've read these books, what you think down below, and have some fun, read some books, and I'll catch you guys in the next one.